saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars. Follow it down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. saying if it's already said. Even if it all goes over your head, believe it if you want to. So keep your eyes on the road and your head in the stars. Find a way down the rabbit hole just a little while longer. You can change anything if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to. Sing it like ooh, if you want to.
Here in Las Vegas on day 2 of the CEC. My name is Ron Segev. Probably, to my mind, the most interesting panel you're going to sit in on during this conference. We're doing the crypto panel. I've got the great pleasure of moderating a phenomenal panel. On the panel today with us is Yael Tamar. She is the CEO and co-founder of SolidBlock. It is a company that's innovating in the space of crypto and real estate. We have Aaron Carroll, who is the interim CTO of ProLeague.gg. He's known for having some very widely followed Ask Me Anything's and AMAs and chat groups, educating the community on blockchain and crypto. And through ProLeague.gg, he's building an esports platform formed with crypto and NFTs baked in. And last but certainly not least is Gil Solomon, a corporate, commercial, and blockchain lawyer, one of the first crypto law firms in Israel. He's in-house, or I should say he was in-house for the largest crypto VC in Israel, and he's participated in the most ICOs ever in Israel. I am your moderator. My name is Ron Segev. I'm based in Vancouver, Canada. We are a full solutions business law firm with an expertise in interactive entertainment and fintech. We work with payment services companies, blockchain and crypto companies, but also all things gaming, including esports, gambling, skill games, social, traditional video game publishers, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm very fortunate to be at the nexus of two very exciting, very interesting industries. We've been asked to look at 3 topics here for the panel, and I think they're going to be a great launchpad for some interesting discussion. We're going to cover the following ideas: how to use crypto for your business, uses of crypto besides payments, and the benefits of the current systems and moving future current payment systems. So let's just jump in. Let's talk about how to use crypto for your business. I'm going to turn it over to our panel. Aaron, what are your thoughts on that? How would you recommend an esports company or gaming company use crypto for their business?
Aaron couldn't make it today. Sorry.
Okay, Aaron couldn't make it today. Our apologies, but that's okay. Gil, what's on your mind with respect to this topic?
Sorry, you're talking to me?
Yes.
Okay. So in using crypto for your business, there's a lot of advantages, obviously, because you're more accessible to large number of people. On the other hand, there are a bunch of challenges to address. And one of them is the cost of using services for the exchange of crypto fiat. And the safety and security of using crypto is another one. As well as the anti-money laundering AML challenges that we're facing in using crypto. And I believe we'll discuss more fully down the line in our panel. But generally, what I see as a challenge, the main challenge of using crypto is actually using and seeing the number of transactions paid just by virtue of using the wrong address and of copying and pasting the wrong address into the recipient's crypto wallet. And in that sense, we're facing a challenge of who's the liability for such it's not a false transaction, but it's a misappropriation of funds. So in volatility of crypto. Unless you find out to price your services and products in crypto, since you're facing a lot of volatility in prices of crypto, unless you basically using the stablecoins. So this is my take on it. In terms of the challenges, they all been the obvious.
Great, thank you, Gil. Looks like Aaron's joined us. Aaron, we just talked into the first topic here. Good morning. We're discussing how to use crypto for your business. What are your thoughts there?
And Joe put a really important one there, which is the missed accesses, right? That can happen really easily, especially in the copy and paste world. So some sort of solution, whatever that's probably going to be money, whether it's QR codes or whatever, to ensure that the payments are going, which goes to if you work on the Ethereum blockchain, then you have the option to register your ENS domain so that people know the thing that it's going to. But the other challenge, right, is finding the right blockchain to do it on, which we have two things for any kind of system that have to happen so that it works like it does now, which is speed and cost of transaction, right? Currently, the top two, even the top three blockchains by market cap are just too expensive for transaction and too slow. Right? We're not waiting 5 minutes and spending $4 to buy $1 bottle of water. So a layer 2 solution on Ethereum or the Hydra solution on Cardano or Solana are probably our best current bets, and those are probably a few months out.
Great, thank you. And yeah, any thoughts on this? How to use crypto for your business? You did, yes. Go ahead, please.
So if you guys can look at the private chat, that would be really helpful. So in terms of how we at Software Block use crypto, so my name is Elton Lara, I'm the CEO of Software Block, and we connect the world of real world assets such as real estate and the world of blockchain, allowing people to invest in different real world projects and then trade them like you would trade crypto. So obviously there's a big connection between what we do and the crypto market. There are many investors who want to invest in crypto, in real estate directly or in securities. And in terms of just buying real estate products, buying property with crypto, it's a new world out there. It's something that most people in the property industry right now are not familiar with, how to facilitate it, how to combine a lot of the data points that are all blockchain. It would have been definitely very, very easy if the title registry for properties was on blockchain, but it's not the case yet. So we have to find a way to connect with the world to allow individuals to accept crypto, and to allow individuals to accept fiat on the other side when crypto is transferred by the buyer. So all of those things is what we as a company facilitate. And of course, as a blockchain crypto company, we accept crypto as a form of investment, as a form of payment, and so on, using third-party exchanges, third-party escrow services. Crypto is very, very convenient when it comes to escrow. In fact, you don't really need to have a traditional escrow if you have a crypto wallet with a basically a lock feature, right? Which can be unlocked either via a smart contract, meaning if certain things take place, like the payments are transferred or some records are made, then the wallet is unlocked and the crypto can go out to the seller. However, there are a lot of challenges here as well. We're dealing with real world databases. So when you have a change of ownership, for example, in the real world, it doesn't automatically go onto the blockchain, right? Onto the smart contract. So there are people that specialize in providing the service of an intermediary. These are either legal offices or, basically, lawyers at the moment facilitate this. So that's my 2 cents about connecting the real world to the virtual world.
Great, thank you. So to synthesize your thoughts, what I'm hearing here is, in answering the question of how to use crypto for your business, it sounds like the three of you are taking the perspective of how not to use crypto. So make sure you're using the right blockchain technology. Keep in mind speed and cost. Keep in mind security, ease of use. Frictionless adoption, if you will, payment security, and all the rest of it. So, to answer the question, how to use crypto for your business, the answer is use it the right way. I'm hearing some interesting comments from Yael about smart contracting and the use of crypto for escrow payments, which is a great segue to the next question, which is uses of crypto besides payments. And smart contracting is a really powerful example of that. Yael, do you want to talk to us about that? What are some of the uses of crypto besides payments?
Fantastic. So we can talk about crypto, and we can also talk about crypto-like technology, right? Blockchain technology. So, because crypto specifically on cryptocurrencies, primarily used for payments, for staking, which is basically investment purposes. You invest in the asset that everybody's familiar with that use case. And of course, use it as a interest-producing asset, which is basically staking. And the really interesting application of that we're starting at SolidBlock is that instead of investing your crypto directly into assets, you can actually stake your crypto and then invest the proceeds into the assets. So you can have your crypto and invest with it too, right? So that's another application. And if we're talking about crypto technology, right? So blockchain technology, of course, it has a million other uses, and different companies are trying to build use cases. Where something that we're facilitating is converting real world products into financial products, right? Products that don't have a lot of liquidity. Once they have a lot more liquidity in the market, then there are a lot more investment opportunities. The products become more accessible. The industry becomes more efficient, and there's more transparency, and there's more equality even, right? So it becomes almost like a social enterprise type of product where you are leveling the playing field between different investors in the space. So that's one use case that I wanted to highlight, and I'm sure my co-panelists have some other fantastic use cases to add.
Well, let's find out. Aaron, you're the interim CTO for ProLeague.gg. How are you guys using crypto other than for payments on your platform?
Oh man, so outside of using crypto, like Yael said, is the technology behind it, right? So NFTs are a super powerful technology, being a non-fungible token, they can represent anything. So we're using those in order to show provenance and the immutability of them to maintain essentially what are resumes for our players and our users that are on there, so they can go back, anybody can go back and look, how are they progressing, how have they done in past tournaments, etc., without worrying that the data has been tampered with, which is a huge part, right? Essentially, blockchain is two things: a big database, it's a ledger, and the fact that it's immutable.
A little bit.
Security to the data that's stored there. So we're using it in that manner. Then we're also using it to store tournaments, like the way that they are designed, organized, number of players, etc., on those NFTs, so that those NFTs that represent the basic data layers and variables of a tournament. And then obviously, we use it as a financial system for the players that are on there so they can receive their payments.
That's great. That's really interesting stuff. And I've got some clients who are working on similar, if inferior, technology. Gail, what are your thoughts around the use of crypto other than for payments? What are some of the issues that you need?
The previous point, I think that using crypto as a means of payment is possible in some sense. I mean, we charge in crypto. I know that your firm also charges in crypto, so it is possible. And I think that today, even more so, because Brazil just notified, just a second now, lower the volume of our speakers. Brazil just notified the world that it contemplates the use of crypto or Bitcoin essentially as a legal tender, as a legal currency of the country. So, it's not just El Salvador anymore, so it is feasible. Now, aside from being a means of payment, it's a good investment mechanism, just as the AI said. And I can share like numerous chances of being an attorney for a venture capital firm in investing in crypto enterprises. We were super profitable. I mean, our multipliers were 20 and 30x sometimes, which is amazing. And I know investors that made so much more. That's from the investment side, but if I will think about it from the business side, from the company side, we need to think if the business is in crypto or blockchain suitable. Is there a real use case? Is there a real claim for blockchain technology within your business? We need to think of the economics of the token, tokenomics, and see if it works, if it brings any value or any upside to the investor or prospective purchaser who will purchase the tokens. Unless they're a utility token only, and then we think they're really required. There are some companies, for example, Cheese, who's working with football and soccer in the States, football in Europe, clubs all over the world. The biggest kind of clubs in the world are using their tokens as fan tokens. For example, such as Barcelona and Madrid, and all these guys, AC Milan. So we need to think about that. In addition, it creates a lot of regulation responsibility and an additional layer of regulatory supervision and scrutiny. And for example, in the USCC, we have the most aggressive regulator in the USA, sorry. We have the most aggressive regulator, which is the SEC. And we think if we want this aggressive and added scrutiny in our business. All in all, I think that where it works and where it's supposed to be, it's worth the risk. But it requires thought in advance.
Yeah, I have to agree with those thoughts completely. So, Gil and I are both lawyers, and in answer to the question, how do you use crypto besides for payments? Oftentimes our clients will approach us and they'll say, "Oh, we're going to have a blockchain-enabled or crypto-enabled platform." And the first question I ask is, well, what's the benefit of this technology for what it is you're trying to achieve? Some people are just hopping on the bandwagon without actually thinking about the benefit that's going to be provided. And then, if they do make a case, they're not being mindful of some of the legal issues like SEC issues. Sometimes I'll say, well, guess what? Your token is now a security. We've got some SEC issues that we need to keep in mind. So, but that said, there's some phenomenal applications that we've heard from our panelists. In particular, with respect to immutability of ownership, things like statistics, which Aaron talked about, but also the skins market, I think, is really interesting. And I'll go into a little bit of that too. Currently, the way skins work is you basically just pull the license to use the skin from the publisher. But what would be cooler was if you actually owned that virtual asset. Let's hop into the next topic here for discussion, which is the benefits of current systems and moving future current payment systems. So let's open up this topic with sort of a sub question for the group. Guys, and any one of you just jump in. The question is, what makes for a good payment system? And do you know of any that could be the next payment? What should we be looking for? What are we looking at?
So I think, first of all, the widespread use is a good advantage, which makes Bitcoin basically the title holder. And especially in these days where it's considered a legal means of payment in countries, even like El Salvador at the moment, and I think in the future. And I hope that, more countries will unban it as well. But not just that, I mean, if you think about the next means of payment, we've solved the challenges that Bitcoin is facing. Like Aaron said, the slow transaction period between the fulfillment and the actual transaction command. I think that, for example, Nano is a good contender in USDC as well. Hopefully, Bitcoin and the SEC won't crack down on the USDC organizer circle too much, and then we'll still have it, in circulation. But assuming it is, I think there are going to be great title contenders in the future. But right now, I think Bitcoin is probably the best.
If you were asking about, kind of means of payment in crypto, I have to agree with Gil, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like we use Ethereum within our company, but we don't accept that many payments. We probably maybe get a few payments a day at the max. But if you have, if you want to go out and let's say buy a drink at a bar, it's very difficult for you to find a bar that will accept your crypto or your Bitcoin and Ethereum. And if you want to do an e-commerce transaction, it's virtually impossible to just accept you do crypto in reality because it does take, for a small amount, 2 or 3 minutes to process sometimes. And, that's a long time for somebody to wait and get it confirmed, right? So, obviously there are great companies out there that create payment gateway. And they overcome this latency in different ways. And I suspect, they even lend you money, before, like basically the money is accepted in one place and then it's paid in another place at the same time to kind of bridge the gap. So there actually some big exchanges are coming up with solutions. I saw that Coinbase came out lately with its beta version. I don't know if they came out of beta, but we actually are really looking forward to trying that. Several of our clients, hotels, really want to start accepting crypto. The good news is that it's possible. The bad news is that if you eventually want to transfer it into fiat, you will probably incur somewhere around 3 to 4% fees, which are higher than credit card fees. And you need to really incentivize people to use crypto, which is difficult as it is, right? So BitPay is another good one that I know of. I've spoken to the team at Point Payments, really knowledgeable and individuals. So, and I think that they integrated with a bunch of what are they called? Like WordPress and Shopify, all of those shopping cart systems. So that's really helpful, right? So that if you have a shop, you just basically do your own shopping cart solution and with crypto, which is fantastic. So you don't have to deal with all kinds of things like credit card and bank and stuff like that. Bank transfer is very convenient. So this field still needs a lot of improvement. First of all, lowering the fees. Second of all, just integrating in point of sales, right? So if I go to a hotel today, it's unlikely that the point of sales that they're using at the venue itself will be able to integrate any of these. So what they'll tell you is go to a website and pay there, right? And then go back to it. So basically that's another challenge, is just kind of integrating the major fields.
Right. provides banking to the unbanked, right? So currently, yeah, the solutions for the point of sale systems, they're very few and far between, very limited. There are a few companies that are working on it and trying to build it out, but we keep running into the same problems, which is the current top blockchains are too slow and too expensive. Now, if Cardano gets Hydra running, then we're looking at faster than Visa and cheaper than Visa, and then you're paying on a native layer. Solana currently, you can already do that, right? Look at like 50,000 transactions per second, and the average transaction is like 0.3 of a penny. So that hardware is already there. But again, the solution exists there. We've got to get the solution over here to the point of sale. And until we do that or find that, then we're going to be stuck with these fees. Right now, the Coinbase card, if you want to pay with crypto, takes 2.5%, which is a lot, right? It's a step in the right direction, but we really need to get the integration with the point of sale systems. And there are some that exist out there. They just don't integrate with any of the big name systems that already exist. So then your retailer has to switch from this one to this one, and then that one has to add it to their accounting system. And, it's a complex process, right? Whoever gets it first integrated in their point of sale system is going to be a pretty fast winner as far as it goes. It's not terribly difficult, I can't imagine, but with there only being things like the Polygon network, Immutable X, Layer 2, those would be really the only ones that are fast and cheap enough. The blockchain technology to buy a level of water it's not quite there yet unless everyone's doing Solana at the moment. But the other solutions are coming for the other chains.
That's got super interesting stuff, guys. Thank you. I just wanted to shift the conversation a little bit to the topics that are sort of headline topics in this space, in particular DeFi and NFTs. And we spoke a little bit about NFTs earlier, but just wanted to turn the spotlight there. So specifically, how do we use DeFi for in the esports space? And we talked a little bit about the use of NFTs in esports, but we'd be a bit more focused on those thoughts. So again, just taking the questions to the panel generally, if anyone wants to jump in, some ideas around DeFi in esports and NFTs in esports. Aaron, why don't we start with you?
I'm sorry, it was a little echo. So using NFTs in esports?
NFTs in esports and DeFi in esports.
And DeFi in general, right?
Yeah, DeFi.
I mean, just like the NFT can represent ownership of anything, it's right? I had a transaction not so long ago, bought a car, used car, I was special about how to sell it. But in order to do that, I had to meet them somewhere, I test drove it, decided I wanted it. The next day I had to go to the bank. The bank didn't take my debit card. A wire transfer was going to take at least 6 to 8 hours. So I had to drive to my bank, get this little piece of paper that just represents money, called a cashier's check, give it to the woman, she's deposited, it has to go to the and then the next day to go to registration, register the car. On a blockchain, it goes like this. I want the car. The woman goes, cool. The title goes into an escrow application, the money goes in, and it moves out like this. Kind of similar to an atomic swap, using hash timelines. And everybody goes, oh, the title changed hands. Sends a little message, goes, hey, here's your taxes. I go, cool, and I pay. And in less than 30 minutes, I'm done. A little QR code of my license plate updates, and my registration all shows. Right? So that in and of itself is a huge NFT use. And then you can do that with property, by showing prominence, by showing who has stake on it, etc. And in the esports world, like you were saying earlier, NFT skins, avatars can all be maintained on the blockchain in NFTs. And all of that data about who a person is, there's a few services right now, third-party services that are offering this exact thing for KYC and AML out there. So you can use NFTs in that way. If you want to show ownership, you want to show provenance, NFTs can be all of that. But you can dive further in, you get like the 1155 standard, which can have its own ERC20, which is some tokens within it, And you can put other 721 NFTs within that one. So you can have an entire portfolio in a single NFT that you can then move around. Lots of options.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazingly cool stuff that you can do. Yeah, Elle, any thoughts on that? Smart
So-
contracts or DeFi, NFTs in the esports space?
Yeah, there's lots of thoughts on NFTs in the esports space. It's just, for me, it's super interesting that, the traditional applications, such as creating your own, avatars and creating your own attributes of the game, stuff like that, are not new, right? Probably don't need an NFT for that, but the really cool aspect of this is that you can actually create your own worlds that you can rent out, right? You can actually create attributes that will allow new users or other users to come into your world, use their own worlds, and just kind of let users really create and monetize their part of the game. So that's really cool. It sounds really, really cool to me. And the fact that you can now add DeFi, you can sell these NFTs on decentralized exchanges, and I've seen even last year already a few gaming platforms announced that they were doing listings on DeFi and on DEXs, right? So that's really increasing the market for these assets, right? So these assets are used within a specific environment, right? So the NFTs for whatever assets are sold everywhere, right? So it increased the exposure to the original game, to the original environment. So that's also a way to market the environment on which you are playing, and or betting, right? If we're talking about esports, and then kind of the users themselves, by creating really, really cool assets and selling them, also attract more attention to the platform, which in turn helps to increase the value of their NFT. So it's kind of like this circular motion, which I think is basically when you stack esports, NFTs, and DeFi, that's what you come up with.
Gil, you're the lawyer on the panel.
Okay, so
Go for it.
by the way, connecting to what Yael said, I think that DeFi creates another layer of possible financing for an esport game developers by using all sorts of DeFi options available. And connecting to what Aaron said, actually, there's a very good use case for NFTs that exists. I think since 2018, I remember being in the panel of one of the Block TV's shows back then, and we discussed it, that a game developer, I don't remember the name, it was way back, but a game developer back in 2018 came up with the idea of using unique items that gamers need to win and attaching NFTs to them. It was a use case back then. I think it's still very much relevant today. And I think it's pretty cool because it's not just, having your own NFT for anything you want in the game, like your armor or weapon, whatever. You have a unique item where all gamers need to play the game in order to, not just this one, but any other unique item and reach it. And then you can trade with it using the NFT. So I think it's a really good use case, and I think generally all these blockchain and DeFi-related themes and solutions are added layers. As long as we have a platform which is good in its essence as a base, all these added layers are good and are nice to have.
Yeah, I think that takes us back to the original point, which is make sure your application adds value to your platform, right? Don't just adopt it blindly. I think we're ready to open the floor for Q&A.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question is this: so crypto was and blockchain started quite a few years ago. But there's been a lot of scandal and issues in regards to it. So for our general audience out there, both online and here, could you guys go into a little bit more of when we will see cryptocurrency be taken as more of a legitimate form of currency? I mean, when you have companies and groups like BSV and other ones that have all this scandal attached to them, how do you, justify or come to the conclusion that this is a form of payment that can be used when there's a lot of there's a trail of problems, and not just in the crypto space, but even esports has had its own share of scandal in regard to decentralized coin. There was an esports team, I think, in Europe, and they were pushing a coin. They got people to buy it, but it really wasn't worth anything, and then they resold it and just cashed out and made money on something that wasn't right. So how do we, make sure that the industry thrives without, and is accepted and trusted? And again, we know that the internet at first wasn't that way, and maybe is that the same way that crypto's going?
I would say that there's no reason not to trust crypto. It is the actors and users inside of it, right? And when people are like, "Oh, I can't trust crypto; it's too scammy," I just say things like Bear Stearns, Citibank, Lehman Brothers, right? All the banks that caused the 2008 financial crisis and crash, right? It's not the currency; it's the actors on it, right? So it's people like Solidbot and Gil, and they're building these legitimate places that crypto can be used and showing that. Yes, it's an emerging market. Yes, there's an opportunity for massive amounts of financial gain, and that is going to bring bad actors. That is the reality of the situation, right? But on top of that, with those bad actors come the visionaries. Come the people that see what the possibilities are and realities are here, and bring that transparency and that legitimacy to it. So the key is getting more of the visionary actors on board to make this happen. And we can see that it's going on, right? You got Charles Cardano, or Charles Hoskinson from Cardano, amazing visionary. But even Facebook is seeing, that this needs to be a thing. And you're finding more and more large businesses are realizing they need to accept that. And the more it's accepted by those large businesses, the more the legitimacy of the currency is built.
Thank you.
I fully agree with Aaron. I think that to understand if cryptocurrency can be used as a currency at all, we need to go back to the first lesson in nature economics class, which is that a currency is only a currency if there is a mutual agreement of its value. And I think that we can treat almost any cryptocurrency as a currency, but in order to solve the problem that your question is raised, I think that we need to first have it decentralized, then we know, fully decentralized, then we know that there's a solution to the problem of the organizers or the issuers malpractice or negligence, or even worse than that, bad faith and criminal acts. But I think that it goes beyond that, because there are sophisticated actors in each field, like analysts and law firms and economical advisors that are actually paid and work in order to, their daily work is actually to analyze the market and the use of any investment advice or legal tenders as means of payment. And we need to, these guys work on cryptocurrency and delve into the research and research the entire protocol, how it works, the use case, the technology, who guides it, who works, who develops it. And then we can trust it as a means of payment. as long as we trust them, right?
Thanks. That answers the question.
Great, thank you. All right, any other questions from the group or online?
No, I think that's about it. I wanted to thank everybody in the panel, and I appreciate you guys coming on. And hopefully we can get you guys here next year in person, which would be nice. Gil, I know it would be a long way for you, but thank you very much for attending and coming on. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Been a pleasure.
Okay, bye. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, it's spiking. Yeah. They were rescheduled before.
I've got 5 or 7 at the end of today.
Yeah.
So I've got to juggle that, and then I get to bed.
Are you going to bed?
I'm really, really tired.
Yeah, I've been tired too. What did I put you on? What class was it? Ah, here it is. You're on this one. You're not ready. You're not up till 4.
Okay.
So go home and take a nap.
Okay, I'm even up home for lunch.
Yeah, that's how I have you here.
What was the subject?
The subject is what crossovers do casinos have now that can be used to build a younger audience?
Fine.
It's a good one.
It's interesting. I'm really worried. I got really frightened by some of the stuff that I was seeing at G2E this year,
Also,
by the complete lack of thought to.
lack of innovation.
No, I think some of the innovation is really good, but lack of thought of what's going to happen next. There's no one's looking at the lessons of what's happened in other markets, vis-a-vis regulation, vis-a-vis what happens to customers when you stick lots of money in. Cashless cards, debit cards, credit cards, and slot machines. It's like the regulators are on holiday.
Oh, that they're not really controlling that.
The reason why this city, this market, and this industry has been so successful is because it's been well regulated
Mm.
to protect not just the industry from unscrupulous people coming in, but to protect the customers.
Mm.
And I think these two things or three things are just crackers. You know, if you did to regulate, you could put a debit card in
Mm.
and rinse all your money in the slot machine,
Mm.
or have a credit card linked to your bank account. They would have absolutely kiboshed it straight away.
Mm.
The second thing is, I have no problem with sports betting or skill-based betting online. Don't have an issue with it. I know lots of professional gamblers, I'm sure we all do, but they play poker, they play sports betting. They
Mm.
don't play slot machines professionally.
Right.
They can't win.
Right.
There's still a skill element. Linking online casinos, blackjack, slots, whatever it may be, on unregulated algorithms for people to put money into. Yeah.
Did you ever talk to the guy in LA? We're still pushing through the block here. That's it.
Who did I talk to?
I know you said somebody in LA was trying